Draymond felt like KD was out the door. And as a result of him being out the door, Draymond was frustrated. Like, wait a minute, we two-time champions here. We wanted you here. We've embraced you. And you on the court, but you got one foot out the door. You're about to leave us. And Draymond was a bit put off by that. KD's attitude is, I'm here giving you all I got to give. What you worried about what I'm going to do with my future? I'm here now. I helped us deliver 2 back-to-back titles. We about to win a third because, as they said on the podcast, if KD doesn't have hurt, like Draymond said, I think it would have been a third. We would have three-peated had you not gotten hurt. And KD's response was easily. And I absolutely concur.
Of course.
It would have been easily. It would have swept Toronto, in my humble opinion. Having said all of that, that's really what it was about, because at the end of the day, you know, what it comes down to is that you have players who feel it should have been left to the players. And it was ruined by how the organization elected to handle it. My problem, and I loved, again, the interview was fantastic. I'm proud of Draymond, who's got a future in this business. And I've told KD on many occasions, because Draymond is a brilliant basketball player. And I don't know if anybody realizes this. Draymond's a Hall of Famer. Just so y'all know, he's a 3-time champion. Yeah. He has something to do with them going to 5 straight NBA Finals. If Dennis Rodman is in the Hall of Fame,
he revolutionized the game with Steph Curry.
Yeah.
He was the pick and roll partner.
Draymond is a Hall of Famer, so let's be clear about that.
Center.
But also with KD, I've often told them both, but especially KD. Anytime KD's talking basketball to us, y'all, it's a treat, because he's gonna be honest and he knows what the hell he's talking about. And so that education you appreciate, but in the end, there's also other things that we got to peel from it. For example, KD admitted on the podcast, I was a different dude once I got to Golden State. I got there, I was in it, I was focused, I was in a place that's better than any place that I've ever been. He wasn't talking about Golden State, talking about his mindset, where he was mentally. He was basically admitting that wasn't him at Oklahoma City. And there were some people who gave Russell Westbrook heat because it couldn't work out in Oklahoma City. And whether knowingly or unknowingly, KD, if you listen to him, was essentially expressing, I elevated to a different place once I arrived at Golden State. And I was doing things differently. I wasn't focused and paying attention to the kind of things that I used to pay attention to before then, which is obviously when he was in Oklahoma City. And that basically really absolves Russell Westbrook of a lot of blame that came in his direction once KD elected to walk out the door. So I think that's important to remember as well.
That's a great point. Obviously, he evolved. Max, this was the actual question I wanted to get to, and thank you, Stephen A., for explaining that, because I was curious. They didn't touch on it in the interview. Max, what impact, though, should Draymond's comments have on his relationship with his current team? Because he basically dogged them, and he's still on the Warriors.
Yeah, it's a great question, because that was the kind of interview, as I said, that you see Shaq and Penny sit down 20 years after they play. They've been retired for at least 10 years. Then you have that kind of conversation.
Yeah.
Not about the front office and coach while you're still on the team, while one of you is still on the team. And yet, what should it do to the relationship? What it should do, if Steve Kerr and Bob Myers are smart, and they are, is strengthen the relationship. This should make things better. And it's not entirely unlike the situation with Aaron Rodgers and the Packers, although obviously much less acrimonious and Gutenkunst. Here's the thing. If Kerr and Myers could take their egos out of it, then what's happening there in the conversation between Draymond and KD could be very instructive. It can help them get better. Now, Stephen A., earlier in the show, I said that's the one false note for me, was that the two of them are in the room together, and KD said flatly, that's not why I left. It's the way they handled it. To me, that's a little bit evasive in terms of taking responsibility. Like, as you said, KD was, as Draymond said, he got the feeling after year 2, KD was out the door anyway. Well, that came before the way the organization handled it, right? That skirts that issue a little bit and puts the onus too much on the front office and the coach. However, as I said, if you're a student of life, and you ought to be, it is instructive to watch other students of life who've lived a lot of life KD, when he was in Oklahoma City, Stephen A., as you point out, he was 19 years old with 1 year of college, dealing with worldwide pressure and press and focus and all this stuff. And he had otherworldly talent, and he matured over time. We watched the maturation of a young man become a fully grown man and a mature, fleshed-out human being. And he's learned a lot, and he's willing to talk about it. And so one of the things that the front office and the coach and Steve Kerr should pay attention to is, hey, these are two highly intelligent players, two generational kind of players that have enormous impact on the game and our franchise. And they're giving us the details, the blueprint. Look, this is how we could have done things better. So an immature franchise, an unintelligent franchise, a franchise driven by too much ego, it'll be a problem. The Warriors have a chance, however, to take the information in that interview and make the organization better.
Or you could put it that way, Max. Let me give you food for thought, because we have to go to commercial, and we're going to come back and talk about this, Molly and Max. I want you to food for thought. Just sit on this for the next 3 or 4 minutes during the commercial break. I just got a text. I got a text from an extremely well-connected individual. He doesn't work for the Warriors organization. He's very, very familiar with a lot that goes on there. Right? And that's all the information I'm going to give in regards to that, because I don't want them to know who this is. It's a source. Quote, let me make sure I have this here, Max. I'm going to love to see how the Warriors are going to handle this. Part of the problem, I don't know of any African Americans they have in any executive positions that could have brought these two brothers together. Folks have complained about this several times, and this was one time where it actually showed. KD never got past this, not until the Olympic experience this year. That is the real. That's what somebody said. I don't know when he was talking about African-American executives, whether he was talking about the Warriors organization specifically or in general as a whole, the paucity of African-Americans in executive positions, particularly those who are empowered in such a way that they have the influence to bring the players together. But basically, they were making the implication that was non-existent within the Warriors organization, and that played a role in why this took so long to get resolved.
Stephen A.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming, sports, and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.